Hey guys, Greg Denny. Yeah, I love to travel and I love to meet people. As I'm out around the world, I'm very curious and I love to observe and study and learn and just connect with people. And I very frequently meet people who just seem totally unprepared for life, especially young people coming up, and they just have no idea about what some people what we might call the realities of life. They're just totally unprepared for it, and sometimes it's so shocking. They fall on their faces, and they fail. They fail to launch, and they're failing at succeeding in life. I mean, many adults are still that way. They're just failing because they just are so unprepared to succeed in life. And then I meet others who are corrupted by some of the realities of life, who fail and struggle and fall because they get too exposed to some of the filth and the garbage. So, I mean, it's no surprise to you. We live in this incredible time in the world where there's great things happening. I mean, it's so exciting. It's a wonderful time to be alive, but it's also, there's a lot of terrible things going on. From drug addiction and alcohol addiction to sexual corruption and immorality to terrorism to just outright violence to just wasted life, just spending life doing things that are meaningless. And so how do we create that balance, especially as parents? I mean, this is for us, and especially for parents. How do we keep ourselves, in in contact with things as they really are, realities? We're not hiding from reality. We don't want to stay in this cave and keep our children in this cave and pretend like the world's not out there. We don't want to do that, but we also don't want to go out and just expose ourselves to the corruption and get too connected. So where's that balance? How do you do that? How do you keep yourself with a good reality check, but also at your best level, pure goodness? And how do you raise children in this world and help them be prepared to succeed and thrive and lead, but not be corrupted? And I work with a lot of youth. And so that's context for this. I work with tons of wonderful youth that I have for years and years and years. And you guys know some of my story. I ended up out on my own at an early age in some really tough situation. I saw a lot of this there. And then since that time, I've been able to work with a lot of youth and adults to get that right balance in life. And so here's I want to share some thoughts to see maybe this will really resonate with you and help you for yourself and for your family. And my wife and I would like to call it the greenhouse effect, where you keep the greenhouse is designed to help a plant develop a root system before exposing it to the outside elements. And so that its roots are strong enough and it has enough development there that now it can withstand the temperature changes and the wind and the harsh conditions. But you keep it inside the greenhouse until it's strong, right? And the same thing we do with ourselves and with our children in our lives. You got to get that strong base. You want to raise up your children and keep them in conditions, growing conditions, where they're not exposed to the filth and the garbage and the destructive behaviors and attitudes. You can't just, you don't say to a little lettuce plant, is throw it out in the winter and come on, toughen up. Plant, it's time for you to get tough, right? It just doesn't work. It'll die. And so the same thing as we're trying to lead our own lives and we're trying to help others, we use the greenhouse effect. There is that protective barrier that you help develop character and integrity and strength and personality and values and principles. I think it's extremely dangerous if you don't teach your kids great boundaries and principles and standards and morals and values, and set high standards, and don't be ashamed of them and don't apologize for them. Say, we're going to be excellent people living in a great way. We're going to set high standards for ourselves and get that system so that when they are exposed to the meanness and the cruelty and the crudeness and the vulgarity and the filth that's out in the world, it doesn't just crush them and kill them. On the other side, and you guys, and we talk a ton about this whole thing and actual literal steps of how to set this up, how to create a family culture that does this, that's protective and instructive, where we're literally seeking to become our very best. You guys, it's not enough just to be okay. It's not enough just to be mediocre. It's not enough just to get by. I hope you never have that. Well, that's a good enough. The good enough attitude is lame. Right? We want to be excellent. We want to be great. We want to be our very best. And so we've set up all of our courses and our trainings in worldschoolacademy.com to help you walk through this whole thing, to create these systems and steps. I mean, proven strategies to get the results you want. Lead an excellent life with a phenomenal education. So check that out. Sign up over there and get those resources. It's awesome. So the other side is you don't want to be too sheltered. You don't want to do the greenhouse effect, but then darken the glass so you never let any light in, and then the child has no clue what's actually going on out there. I meet kids like that too. And maybe they're unschooled, maybe they're homeschooled, maybe they just live in a place that's really protective and sheltered. And honestly, it leaves the kid or the person just totally unaware of what's going on. And I've often seen if that's the case, then they stumble and fall, and they have this shock factor, and they just don't know how to handle it. And so we want to do that too, where we want to let them know, hey, there are bad things out there. There really are. There's corruption. There's just outright evil. There are mean things and mean people and destructive vices. So again, the greenhouse effect, I think, is the best way to do that, where you're in a protective, safe environment where you're teaching true principles and values. They're protected from the full exposure to the outside, but you as the parent can literally put your arm around your child and you go out together and say, okay, here are some of the things that are happening in the world. Pornography will literally destroy you. It's out there. You need to be aware of it. You need to know how to protect yourself, how to manage and control your thoughts. There are drugs and alcohol. I mean, there's other habits, even screen addictions, even the vice of just doing nothing, just maybe playing video games all the time, not doing something productive. And so with your arm around your child, you go out and you learn these things together. And so you don't hide it from, you don't keep say, hey, this is a reality. But this is the truth of it. This is where those things lead. This is the end result of those kind of patterns and behaviors, and those things are in society. You guys, I mean, this is kind of a heart-to-heart here. As we've traveled around the world with our children, we've seen the effects of that, of racism and prejudice, of bigotry, of religion against religion, or country against country, or the vices of abuse in families and neglect. We've seen what happens when you just work so much that you neglect every other part of your life, or when you don't work at all, and what laziness can do. And you take your kids and say, this is how things are. There's some phenomenal stuff in this world, and there's some terrible stuff in this world. And here's the right way to see and perceive and understand those things. And you guys, we got to set ourselves up and our children up to really thrive and succeed, to understand those things, but to know how to work around them, and to know how to connect with people that might be caught up in them, and to be leaders, to lead our own lives and to help lead others so that we can be truly successful and happy. I hope that helps. And if this is an idea that works for you, and you see the value of this, we're going to give a lot more details of it, like I said, in World School Academy. But I invite you to share this video, share these ideas. My whole mission and passion and purpose in life is really to strengthen families. Really it is. That's what it's all about. And to help people succeed and live lives that they're proud of, that they don't regret, that are fulfilling and meaningful. So share this. Let's together, raise up children that can have a huge positive impact in the world and make a real difference. and that they just live lives that are happy and meaningful. They get a great education, they lead out and really have a positive impact. Reach upward.